This week, we're going to talk about dopamine. We've already gone through awareness, which is the first week. We went through direction, which is the second week. We done habits last week, and now we're in the dopamine phase of this challenge. 5 more days, guys. And this part is, some people know what dopamine is. Some people are still not really familiar with, the impact of dopamine and how we are navigating with it. But I'm hoping that I can give you just some way of just understanding it so that like you catch it sooner, right? Because it's not about us being perfect, it's about progress, right? It's always about progress at the end of the day. We are always trying to seek for, push for perfection, but this is not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to just catch things sooner, right? And this is going to make our life much better. So dopamine is running the show right now. As much as you might not want to believe it, this week you'd start to see why, right? So why decision fatigue is the real enemy right now on this journey that you're on. Because the thing is, every single day of our life is about decisions. I made a decision to do a challenge, right? I made a decision to record this today. I'm making decisions on my day to day, who I'm going to jump on a call with, who am I going to say yes to working with as a client. Like there's just everything's happening throughout my day where I have to make a decision, right? So we're just making decisions all the time. The problem is for ADHDers, we have decision fatigue. It's one of the biggest bottlenecks that we have as ADHD is decision fatigue. Getting overwhelmed with like how much options we have. Like, so it's literally on hard mode for us. Like, whereas a neurotypical, it might be quite easy for them to say, this or this, I'll get this. Like, for us, we're kind of looking at the possibilities, the potential, and like we end up going in that rabbit hole, right? So, how do we deal with that? So, what I want to show you here is what I call the dopamine bubble, right? Before I used to call it the triple D method, but I've decided to change that for another concept that we spoke about earlier in the desire inbox. But let's just think of this, right? So we have a decision to make, right? I want you to see clearly what happens when you have to make a decision. You're either going to move towards a desired outcome that you want with this decision. So, you can play with your imagination in terms of what that could be your desire, right? And then you could be escaping discomfort, right? So this escaping discomfort would be doom scrolling, right? You jump on your phone because you're maybe, I don't know, bored or you're uncomfortable with taking on something. So now you just say, like, oh, I can't bother that. Let's do that tomorrow. And then you jump onto something like doom scrolling, sugar, or any of these dopamine sources that could just easily top you up with your dopamine, right? Desire is a purpose-driven project that you might have thought of, like a really good idea. You're really excited about this idea. It's a really good idea, and you follow through on it. Or you want to go to the gym today, so you go to the gym. Your desired outcome is that you go to the gym, you do a really good workout, you come out really happy, you get your dopamine from that, right? But every decision that we're making, I want you to bear in mind that because we have a low supply of dopamine, it sways our decision making. So, like we are more seeking dopamine. That's more where decisions are really coming from if we're not careful, is we're just starting to look for where can we get dopamine the fastest versus this is a really good decision for me right now. It's going to progress the journey, right? Because if you have a low supply and you start off with a low supply and you don't really know that information and it's not really clear for you, you're just going to end up just keep doing this habit and not knowing why you're doing it. But you're doing it because you're out of the supply of dopamine, right? So your brain becomes a hunter, right? And it's scanning, it's seeking, it's grabbing quick hits, right? So once you understand that, distractions are not random. Like, oh man, I'm always distracted. Look, it's because you're on a low supply of dopamine and you're trying to find the quickest way to get it, because the way that you were going to do has a lot of friction to start off with, but is really beneficial in the end. But you don't like that beginning friction that comes with that. But if you just pick up your phone and just doom scroll, that is so easy. It's so comfortable, right? And I top up my dopamine. But what you're not seeing is that you're topping up your dopamine, but then you're having a massive crash afterwards. And that's when we start getting a bit self-sabotaging and, guilty. Oh, I wasted all that time. I could have done this. Like that starts creeping in. But a lot of us don't even know why we feel so defeated and upset. It's because like our dopamine hunting was the thing that made us do the impulsive things that we did that day, that were enough to fill up our dopamine, but weren't enough to get us to move the needle forward on our journey, right? Of what we want. So the question that changes everything and changed it for me is just looking at what discomfort I'm trying to escape, right? So every time I go on IG, now I'm a lot better, right? But every time I go on IG or YouTube and I find myself like just going through the videos, like I notice like, yeah, like, mate, why are you here? Why are you actually here? Hmm? What brought you here? Curiosity? Low on the dopamine right now? What is it like? And just notice when you're doing it. Like it's a habit, of course it's a habit. So like, we've gone through habits and I've mentioned about the habits side of things last week, right? But this is a habit we've got used to. We've got used to going for quick dopamine sources. That's all we've done. Is like we've just decided that, oh, like feeling a bit uncomfortable right now on the bus, like lots of people here. Really, I'm an introvert. Let me just jump on my phone and just like, zoom, like loom, like, do you notice like everyone's just down, like, when you go into in public, you just see people just head down on the phone. It's because they're uncomfortable, like in maybe in their environment, they just feel uncomfortable, so they just want to go down and they just want to just go in this rabbit hole, right, where they can kind of almost hide away. That's what's happening, right? So I want to go light today, because I want to spread this out for the week. But all I want you to do today is just catch one of these distractions. Most people it's the phone, right? Most people sugar. There's other vices as well, right? But maybe just catch one as it happens. Like just try and catch it. You're not trying to be perfect. Like just live your life like you normally would, and then catch one. And what did you do? And what was you avoiding, right? And then what did you actually need in that moment instead? And just try and think of one. And look, you're going to find one, right? Because it'd be really impossible for you not to find one. But um, obviously, I want you to feel comfortable with sharing it as well, right? But it's just really good to try and catch them. And when you get used to catching it, it's just really good when you can come and bring yourself back to like, oh, actually, do you know what? Like, I was just about to do that. And it's called urge surfing. It's like you had the urge to do something and then you caught yourself and you just gave yourself a little bit of buffer to just not do the thing, and then you didn't you didn't give in. You gave enough yourself enough time to be able to just like, yep, do you know what? I didn't actually need that. Notice yourself trying to grab the phone and jump into IG. Like just notice that, like, and what was it that he's trying to escape from exactly? So this is day one um of the dopamine, and there's 5 days we're going to do the dopamine. And yeah, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Peace.